very first program. We'll pick up this. Okay, so I'll just try to paste it here. So this is a requirement where if you run the program, it has to print this kind of a pyramid. So to write a program, first we need to analyze what exactly is happening. See, the way till now your mind was working and the way it has to work as a programmer is little bit different. Okay. Or technically, if you go behind to the root level, it is both logic will be one and the same. Okay. So here the minor level details, what we need to understand is very first time you have to print just one star. Second time it has to print 2 stars. Third time it has to print 3 stars. And fourth time 4 stars. So here what we have to arrive at is how in which line how many number of times it is printing. So what is common here? First time only one, right?
Yes, sir.
Line number 1 and character also 1. What will you say? That is also 1,
One. Yeah.
right? Now
Yes.
here in line number 2 we have how many number of characters? Characters will be 2,
Two.
right? So line number 3, characters are 3.
Three.
And line number 4, characters is also 4.
Four.
So this is the first level of analysis, right? So what we can see is there are two kinds of variables which comes into picture. One is line,
Okay.
okay, and the other is number of characters.
Characters.
I'll say characters. This is characters for me. So these are the two variables. I have to play only with these two variables. When I play with these two variables, I'll be able to come up with a proper program. So what I'm trying to stress here on is the moment you look up the problem, okay, you have to first analyze how you are going to achieve it. So now since there are two parameters, we'll probably need to declare two variables. One I can say integer line number and other I can say the number of characters in each line. Right. So these are the two variables I'll be declaring. Fine.
Yes.
Now, line number 1. Initially, the very first time, what is the line? It is first line. So it will be first star. Okay. And number of characters
One.
is also 1. Okay. So this is about the first. And in second, what happens in the second loop? 1 will be increased to in the second line. Now this I have printed this.
Okay.
And second time what it should do?
Line is equal to two.
Line is 2. Okay. And number of characters?
Two.
2.
Two.
Exactly. Right. So in all the places now, if I go with line 3, it will be line number 3
Three
plus
characters.
characters is also 3.
Three.
Okay. So this way what I could do is uh, I would go in a way where I will say, oh, just a minute. Okay. So where was I? So very first time, I will print characters one time. Right. So let me start with this only. Initially, let line is equal to 1 and character is equal to 1. And I will say print star for how many number of times? Very first time.
One time.
And what is that to variable? I will make use of this one. This is
One.
line numbers. Okay, one, two, sorry, two, three, four, five, six. These are my line numbers. So first I have declared variable and then I have said one and then I am saying number of characters is also one. Now I'll say print star. How many number of times?
One.
How many number of times?
One time.
One time, I agree. But where is that one? Is this one or this one?
Line number one.
No. It will be
Number
number
of
of
characters.
characters, this one,
Okay.
because I'll print this so many number of times.
Okay.
I'll say print characters number of times. So what happens? First line one, then this one, okay. And then I will print star one time, right?
Okay.
So this, now right now this star is completed. Right. So now what I will do, I will say increment number of
Two.
by one. By one or okay. No need of increment number of this thing. I will say mm, increment line number and number of character by one each. So line number four, what happens? What is line and what is number of characters here? Line becomes
One. Two.
two. And number of characters becomes
Two.
is also two. Right?
Yes, sir.
Next, okay, I will say go to line number three. So what happens here? In three, what happens? First, it
Print
printed one
star.
character, right?
Okay.
First, it printed one
One
character.
character.
Okay. At this point of time, line and character both were one,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
Next, what I'm doing is I'm incrementing line by
And
one and character by one.
one.
So both became two, right?
Two.
Now, when I go to line number three back again here, what it says, print star. How many times?
Number of three. One time.
What is value of
Number of
number?
them. Two.
Huh?
Two.
Exactly. It prints twice,
Twice.
right?
Yes.
And then it will come back to the next line. What happens here?
Increment line and number of by one.
Yeah. So this value becomes
Three. Line three, character three.
line also becomes three, and
Characters
number of characters also becomes three,
three.
right? So after when it becomes three, it goes back to here. It will come to this
Print.
line. From here, it is going back to this line.
Print. Print
So here we are saying
3 stars.
3 star, right? So in the similar way, it goes to 4 star, 5 star, 6 star, 7 star. As the lines are incrementing, it keeps on working.
Okay.
Is this part understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you might have a question. If it keeps on going, when does it end? Okay. So what we can say is, here we can say, if line number is lesser than 10, then go to 3, or then exit.
Okay.
So what happens here? It will go till line number 10
10.
or 9. Okay. Now, because since we have said less than 10, it will go till 9. And after 9, it will exit.
Okay.
If I want to exit at 10 exactly, either I have to say 11 or I have to say less than or equal to 10.
Less than or equal to 10.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, here the thing is, we can directly make use of loop and we can do it. Okay, but there we are not actually applying the logic. We are not understanding what should happen. Okay. So usually in programming, what happens? Here one more loop will be used to perform this operation. Okay, what I'm highlighting right now, there will be one more loop which says I is equal to 1 and I is lesser than or equal to number of characters and then print I. So that part of the code would be used only within here. But the important part is we need to understand how can we achieve it. So now we can say, if at all, if we need to print something like this, we cannot achieve it with single variable. We need to have two variables because here for every line, there are separate set of operations,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
The same way we can try and achieve for the next program. What is our next program? This one,
1, 2, 3.
right? So we'll use this. So now you guys has to tell me what has to be done here. How many variables has to be used? Okay, we can make use of the same stuff. We can copy and we can modify the similar stuff. But let's analyze what is happening here. Here, first line, one is printed. And how many number of times? One time.
1 time.
In the second line, okay, two is printed. How
2
many
is
number of times?
2 times.
Two times. Okay, exactly same thing is happening. Third line, okay,
3 times.
three is printed and three times.
5
So
times.
here the thing is we can modify the same program. Instead of star, we can print something else. But technically, it's a two-dimensional matrix. One is for line, the other is for every line number of times.
Number of times.
Right. So we can say line is equal to 1. We'll start with line is equal to 1. And uh, the column.
Column.
We can make use of any values. Column is also is equal to 1.
1.
Right.
Okay.
So what we have to do very first time, we will say, okay, here we need to also make use of one more variable for to keep the operations simple. We will say integer a, b, c, x or counter. We will say counter, or we can make use of line number itself to print because every line, okay, we have a variable, line variable. We can make use of line variable. So first what we have to say is, say this is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. We'll see whether we can achieve it with this. So here we have to say print
1.
value of line.
9.
Okay. How many times? Column number of times,
Column 9. Okay.
right? So what is line value?
1.
Column value?
1.
So here, now outcome of this, what it will print here? If I execute just these three lines, what will be the output? What it is printing here? Print value
Value
of,
line. Line.
yeah. So what is value of line?
1.
And how many times it is printing?
1.
Exactly. Right? Now what I have to do? I have to say
Increment.
increment line and
Line
column
and
by
column by 1.
1. Right?
Yes, sir.
And then go
Go
to
to number 3.
perfect.
Line number 3.
Go to line number 3. Okay. So
Okay.
now next time what happens? Earlier the line value was 1 and
1.
column value also was 1,
1.
right?
1. Yes.
Okay. This we will say line and this we will say column.
Column.
Okay. So this was 1 and 1 in the very first execution. Now
Yes.
I have incremented by 1. So
By
what
1.
does this value becomes?
2.
And this
2.
2. Okay. Now I'm saying go to line number
Go to
3.
line number 3. Print.
So
Print
here what I'm saying,
value of line is 2.
value of line is
Also 2.
2. And I will say
Number also
2 times I have to print
Line number, column number 2. Okay.
right?
Yes, sir.
Now, again it comes here, so it will go back. Okay,
Increment.
it has printed, then I'm incrementing by 1. So the value of line becomes what?
3.
This is, I will say, I will put like this. Okay. So line value is
3.
3, column value
Column
is
value also 3.
3. Okay. And next I'm saying go to line number 3. So
3.
here what it prints? It prints value of
Value
line
of line
is 3. How many number of times? 3 times.
3 times.
So 3, 3, 3
3.
times.
Okay.
So it keeps on going like this. And you can add the condition the way we have added here
Okay. If
based
line.
upon your requirement.
Okay.
Right? This part clear?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Next, we will pick up this one. So we will understand what is happening here.
Okay.
More or less, it is in the similar way, but
Yeah.
okay. But the thing is, here instead of the line number, it is going in sequence.
Sequence. Okay.
So now you guys has to tell me. I will copy the same program for this. Right. So initially the value is 1 and this is 1 and this is printing like this. Now what should I do?
Line number 1, column.
To achieve this, how do I do? So here we have to have one more variable, say somewhere in 0, I will declare counter is equal to 1.
Okay.
Okay. Next, here I will increment where I'm incrementing line, counter, and column by 1.
Column by 1.
So here I will have one more counter and this value is 1,
1.
very first time, right? So here what I have to do is print value of counter,
Value of counter.
column number of times, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So what is value of counter?
1.
1, line 1,
1.
column 1.
1.
Now print counter,
1.
column number of times. Counter is 1.
Column number of 1. Line number 1.
So here there is a change because this I have to split this part of the program. I have to split here. You know why? Because in a single line I used to say, but here after printing every time the value of counter has to be increased,
Okay.
right? So I cannot just make use of this. What I have to say here is I will remove this part. Okay, I will say uh, start initial column is equal to 1. Then I will say, should I say initial column or column loop? I'll say. See, variable names can be anything. It's only for our understanding purpose. Okay. I will say loop is equal to 1. Okay. Print counter. Okay. And next is, what do I do next? Say, for example, I'm here, I'm printing counter. Okay. Column loop is equal to column loop plus 1.
Plus 1.
Okay. And if column loop is lesser than column, go to line number 4, right? Line number 4. Okay. If okay, the problem is putting this in terms of algorithms. Um, Basically, we are using first outer column and next inner column, and then we are printing the counter. So first we have to close the inner loop, which is the outer loop. Line number is the outer loop. Column is the inner loop. Column, we are closing it here. Okay. And if increment line and then if line is lesser than 10, we'll print it till this thing. Then go to line number, go to line number 2. We'll see if this works out. 6, 7, 8. Might be it is wrong, but we'll try to see by tracing. So what is value of in this line? Counter is
1.
1. Line number is also 1.
1.
Column number is also 1.
1.
And we have one more variable declared called as column loop.
Column loop.
Okay. And what is the value of column loop? 1.
1.
Okay. So now we are there in this line, very first time. Okay. So here we are printing what? We are printing counter. Counter value is 1, so we
1.
will just print 1.
1.
This is the outcome. Now what happens? Column is equal to column loop. That
Column
is
loop plus
column loop value is become now
1.
a
Oh, 2. Sorry.
2. Okay. And so this part is done now. If column loop is lesser than column, is it lesser than column?
No.
No. So it will go to the next line. Now
Increment line.
increment line. Line value becomes
2.
2. Okay. So now go to line number 2. Line number 2 says
Column 1.
column is 1. Okay. So it is 1. Counter is also okay. Counter is 1. Fine. Okay. Uh, call loop is now becomes 1. So this should not be here. This we will try to keep it somewhere in the beginning because no column loop can be here. Column loop becomes again 1, right? Now we say print counter. So what is value of counter right now? Okay, counter should also be increased. Here, increment the counter. So in this way, what happens? Column loop becomes 2. I don't know, column loop, yes. It was, but here it's become 1. So here column, where are we? Increment the counter. Counter also becomes 2. The moment you print, the counter becomes 2. Right. So, okay, let's start from beginning. Okay, because there was something mess. First time, line value is 1. Wait, line value was 1. We are starting from here. Counter is 1. Okay, line value is also 1. Column value is also 1. And loop is also 1. Done. Okay. Next, we are printing counter. Counter value is 1 here. Okay. So we will say column loop is equal to increment column loop. So where is column loop? This was 1, now it becomes 2.
2.
And increment counter. Counter was 1, it becomes
2.
2. Now, next, if column loop is less than column, column loop is less than column. No, it is not.
No, no.
It will go to the next line. Increment line number. Okay, so line becomes 2.
True.
Okay, and if line is less than this, go to 2. So in 2, we are saying column equals again 1. Column loop. Okay, here I think this should have been increased. Column is equal to number of columns is number of times. So here, this should be like this line. Column is equal to line. Because the number of lines, the number of column, the many number of times it has to print.
Okay.
Very first time it was 1 only, not an issue. But second time, column value becomes what? Line is 2. So column value becomes what as per this line?
True.
2. And column loop becomes 1.
1.
Okay. Print counter. So what is value of counter?
2.
2. So I'll print here. Earlier this was 1 and now it is printed 2.
True.
Right? And next what happens? It will print this. Column becomes column plus 1. What is column value was 1? It's
2.
become 2 now.
No, 2.
Okay. And counter incremented to 3.
3.
Okay. Is column loop lesser than column?
No, equal.
Okay, so in that case, we have to say lesser than or equal to. Okay, it has to go back, right?
Okay.
So if column is lesser than or equal to, go to 4. So what is 4 doing?
Print counter.
What is value of counter now?
3.
Okay, and next it printed 3 here. Now column loop incremented by 1. So this becomes 3.
3.
And increment the counter.
Counter.
Counter 4,
4.
right?
Yes.
So is column value, what is column value? 3. 3 less than 2? No. So now increment the line.
Okay.
So what is the value of line now?
3.
3. And then go to where?
2.
Here, right? So here what is the value of column now?
2.
Now here in this line number 2, what we are doing here? We are saying column is equal to line, and what is value of line? What is value
2.
of line?
Line 3.
So column becomes 3. Okay. And call loop becomes again 1. Start from beginning.
Okay.
Okay. Fine. Now print counter. What is counter?
4.
So it will print here counter.
4.
4. Okay. Now after printing, it will increase this and this. This becomes 2.
2.
This becomes 5.
5.
Right? So do you understand how exactly we are going and how the variables has been used?
Yes.
It may happen
Yes,
in the
sir.
very first attempt, you might do some mistakes. Okay. You will be able to identify those mistakes when you start tracing. Now, the task which I did was tracing. Okay.
Okay.
So in the similar way, you have to do the tracing part. Okay. So here now we have seen this. Okay. Uh, how we are able to trace it, how we are able to write the program. Okay. It's not program, it's algorithms. Okay. Once this logic you have understood, then writing the programs becomes easy.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now the second thing is, guys, what I want is there was some program which I had asked to write that is about these programs. Okay. Now, where is the programs which I had written? Okay. See, I want you guys to attempt this. Unless and until you try to break by yourself. I mean, try to crack it by yourself. It will be very difficult if I even repeat 100 number of times now. it will actually not enter into your mind. If you really want to do something, okay, in terms of programming or making your logic stronger, in that case, I want you to write algorithms for this, irrespective of whether you are beginners or you are mid times, okay, unless until you feel you are expert, okay. I want you guys to write a program to do this. See, it's very simple. I have given the hint also. If have you ever tried teaching any small kid about multiplications or divisions, or in fact, even when you're a kid, if you don't remember nine ones are nine, nine twos are what, so what you will do in your mind, you're going to add nine number of times again, right? So the same logic you have to build up and try to write algorithms to achieve this.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, sir.
right,
Okay, sir.
fine. Okay, that's it for now. I don't know. We have very less number of team. Okay, so we have covered almost half an hour. Okay, I would be able to take up only when you guys attempt and send me something. Okay, irrespective of whether it is right or wrong, that you leave it. If you don't attempt, there is 100% chances that you not understand. If you attempt, there are chances that there are more chances. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so that's it, guys. I have a call. I have to enter into another call. Thank you all. We'll meet tomorrow.
Thank you.
Hello, Abdul. This is
Yeah,
Shoaib here.
yeah. Tell me, Shiv.
Before we end the call, I was just wondering if team is available in the morning times. I can take continue this class for this week.
Ah, yeah. So you can discuss with the team right now. Okay, guys, this is my friend Shuaib. He's from US. He's also joining hands with us to give the training. We have worked together in one company for almost a decade. Okay, so even he is here to give the proper directions in terms of programming. So what I would suggest is, Shuaib, unfortunately today we have less number of team, but I think majority of 80%, this is a team who is there consistently. So we can first discuss with them about the timings, and from here you can take it forward. I'll just leave up to you guys. You just discuss.
Sure.
I need to attend one call, and I'll be back in few minutes. Thanks.
Thank you. So, group, this is Shoaib again. I would like to continue this programming logic and technique classes for next, probably we'll see for a week how it goes. Uh, I'm thinking you people will need to start from the programming logic and technique, learn the logic first, flowcharts, understand how to break a problem into smaller steps. Start thinking like a computer, thinking like a robot, because you're talking with a machine. We are not talking to a human being. And so our mindset should be like how we communicate to a machine. How do I give instructions to a machine? Give small instructions and see the output. So I want to start from the little bit from the little basics.
Okay, so what time you expect us to join?
So something in your morning around 9ish, 9
Hmm.
a.m. after 9. Will it be? So I wanted to see you people are
10 will be
available,
okay for
working.
me.
So are you guys, can you raise your hand who are available in the morning hours? So we can
10 will
see
be okay.
other people can comment what works for you. And I'll also post this in the group. Depending on how many people are available, we can plan some things in the morning hours. So I can see 1, 2, 3 hands going up. You can type your name maybe. That way we can have it in the chat. So that's fine. I will send in a message. Probably tomorrow we'll check how many people opt for this. And then we'll start organizing. Maybe 1 or 2 days later we'll start this. Wednesday I'm not available. Maybe from Thursday we can start. Probably. Any other suggestions for morning hours? Do let me know. Yeah, I know it was a short notice, but think about it and you can communicate in the chat also.
Weekend classes available or no?
Say that again.
Hello?
Can you say that again?
How about weekends classes is there or no?
Yeah, we'll plan. We'll see how many people are available. We'll take a short survey and then we'll decide.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. Back to you, to the host, and we can call it a day if you are good.
So,
Thank you all. That's it from my side.
thank you, sir.
You can feel free to drop off.
Thank
We'll
you.
post the message and we'll go
Thank you all.
forward. Bye.
Thank you.